Week 9 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few prospects I look to watch and possibly stash this week. The first guy, Max Meyer of the Miami Marlins. So Meyer, he actually was in the major leagues early in the season, and he was pitching good baseball for this Miami Marlin team. And then they sent him down because they want to have an innings cap on him. Obviously, this Marlin team not competing this season, but Max Meyer, he showed he could pitch at this level in the major leagues, and I don't think he's going to be in the minors much longer, especially with some of the guys they're running out there right now. Is the Miami Marlins struggling in this rotation? Sixto Sanchez, he's in the rotation, he hasn't done much. Trevor Rogers, it's been a tough year for the most part. Braxton Garrett, so I think Meyer, he could eventually step right back into the rotation here for the Marlins. And this season, before they sent them to the minors, I know it was 17 innings, 2-0 record, 14 Ks, a 2.12 ERA, 0.82 WHIP, and 2 quality starts. So right now, he's the number 82 prospect in all Major League Baseball, one of the better pitching prospects in the Marlins system. And like I said, we've seen him already in the major leagues, and right now he's in AAA Jacksonville for this Miami Marlin team. And there, he's been struggling, but like I said, he was dominant. He was pitching well in the major leagues, and then to get sent down to the minor leagues, obviously you're not into it after having some success. So right now in the minors, 0-3 record, 6.86 ERA, 19 innings, 26 Ks. So right now he's not pitching well, is Max Meyer. But if they need to start it sooner than later, which I think they would do, is a smaller team with the struggles like I've mentioned. Even though I know they're tanking this season, they're not competing. They've already traded Luis Arraez to the Padres. I still believe that he could be up at some point soon in June and July. And he's definitely a pitcher to keep an eye on and watch, available right now. Like I said, in 83% of Fantasy Week. Next prospect's Cade Pavic of the Baltimore Orioles. So the Orioles dealing with a lot of injuries in this rotation. John Means, unfortunately, he went down again with injury. We don't know his return. Dean Kremer, he's banged up. And Pavic, he's been pitching well in the minor leagues. I know he's not even in the top 100 on the prospect list this season, but he's someone that can help fantasy owners, I believe, sooner than later. Baltimore, one of the best teams in all Major League Baseball, and like I said, dealing with injuries, need a boost in the rotation. I think Pavic could bring it to them right now. He's the number 2 pitching prospect in this Baltimore Oriole system, and also number 9 overall, and he's in AAA, so he's 24 years old. I think he's ready for the call sooner than later. And like I said, in AAA this season, he's dominating. 5-1 record, 2.35 ERA. 10 games started, 53 2/3, 71 Ks, a 1.06 WHIP. So Pavic, the lefty southpaw. Strikeout rate is great. I know come up and pitch in a tough division, obviously, with the Yankees, Blue Jays, Tampa Bay Rays, Boston Red Sox in the AL East, where all those teams are capable of hitting the baseball pretty well. But Pavic's got good stuff, and he's a lefty, and like I said, he's been through this minor league system over the last few seasons with 304 and a third, and he was drafted in 2021. So right now, Pavic, he's definitely someone to keep an eye on, and someone I thought who was going to get called up last week, but Suarez took that spot in the rotation. But one more injury or just struggling, Pavic, I think, is the next man up for this Baltimore Oriole team, and someone that can help fantasy owners in a big way. Prospects, Hurston Waldrop of the Atlanta Braves. So Waldrop, I'm surprised he didn't get the call in yesterday's ball game, where they went in that one with the number 4 prospect, Spencer Schrelenbach, was the Atlanta Braves, and he had a decent major league outing, I believe, for his career. But anyway, Hurston Waldrop, he's been solid in the minor leagues. He's one of the higher ranked prospects in the Atlanta Braves system, especially pitching the baseball, where right now they need some help because they've went through a couple starters since Strider went down. They've got Ryan Kerr starting today's game. We saw AJ Smith-Troyer, he started last week. He's out with the oblique. Bryce Elder, he had a couple weeks he was pitching. He just couldn't get anything done for the Atlanta Braves. And now Hurston Waldrop, a lot of people thought he was going to be coming up and pitching well in the Atlanta Braves system, is Waldrop, and they need help in the rotation. So I believe he'll be up sooner than later as Waldrop. I know he's a Mississippi AA for Atlanta, 3-4 record, 9 games started, 2.92 ERA, 48 strikeouts, and a 1.40 WHIP. So I know his WHIP isn't all that great in AA. But like I said, the Braves have gone through a few guys, and this Brave team with major injuries, obviously, started out for the season. And Ronald Acuna, they need a spark, I think, from the minor leagues, and Waldrop definitely could be that pitcher that could help them. So number 73 prospect in all Major League Baseball. He's number 3 in the Brave system, and he's available right now 97% of fantasy leagues. So like I said, if they want to keep Schwellen back in the rotation or Ryan Kerr, stick with this 6-man right now. I think Waldrop, his chances of being in the major leagues mid-June, early July isn't far-fetched. Next pitcher, Drew Thorpe of the Chicago White Sox. Talk about guys this White Sox team's trotting out there on most major league rosters. They wouldn't be starters. Nick Mastriani, he's been batting practice with an ERA over 8 this season. You got Chris Flexen in that rotation. He hasn't done much. Pretty much Garrett Krachik and Eric Fetty have been the more stable guys in this rotation for the Chicago White Sox team. Seth Thorpe, he was a big prospect in the Yankee system a few seasons ago. He got traded in the Juan Soto deal, and then they flipped him, was the San Diego Padre team in the Dylan Cease deal. So right now with the Chicago White Sox organization, and to be honest, out of those organizations he's been in, Thorpe, his best chances of coming up and making an impact and getting a lot of leadway is with the Chicago White Sox team. And right now he's tearing it up in Double-A, 7-1 record, 1.33 ERA, 10 games started, 54 innings, 49 Ks, 0.89 whip. So he's dominated Double-A right now as Drew Thorpe. We'll see if he's obviously going to be in the major leagues or go to Triple-A. This White Sox team, they're out of it. Obviously, they're going to have a fire sale towards the MLB trade deadline. And they got pitchers in the rotation that just aren't cutting it or really aren't starters in the major leagues. So he's the number 55 prospect and one of the top prospects in the White Sox system, and he's available in 98% of fantasy leagues. But like I mentioned with Mastriani, if he gets hit bad one more time, we could see him come up. Or even Chris Flexen, where they just move him to the bullpen or DFA him, because this White Sox team's going nowhere anyway this season, and you want to see what they could do with these prospects, because also as well, Noah Schultz, one of the top pitching prospects as well in the major leagues and in their system. So 2 guys to keep an eye on. But right now, focusing on Thorpe in the 5th and final prospect I look to watch and stash this week is Tink Hence of the St. Louis Cardinals. So this Cardinal team, they were down and out, it looked like, but they've won 12 out of 15, and now they're in the wild card hunt. And Tink Hence, he's been pretty solid this season in Double-A for the St. Louis Cardinal team. And another team with rotation issues, especially in the back end, going through Steven Matz this year, Matthew Liberatore, who just wasn't good in the rotation. And then we saw Monte have a pretty decent ball game yesterday for the St. Louis Cardinal team. So this Cardinal team, they're winning ball games after they got out of the gate very slow. And it's been a big part of Paul Goldschmidt really picking things up and getting going. And guys like Mason Wynn, who was a top prospect last season in the system, really playing good baseball. So right now, Tink Hence, number 44 prospect in all the majors. Top prospect in this Cardinal system, 3-2 record, 2.76 ERA, 9 games started, 1.07 whip in 45 2/3 and 59 K. So his strikeout rate is great right now in Double-A. We'll see if he goes to Triple-A or he gets called right up sooner than later in this rotation, because the Cardinals, I believe, could use a little boost. And someone always goes down with injury. They got some veterans in this rotation as well, obviously. Sonny Gray, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn. So with those veterans in the rotation, and like I said, that 5th spot's been a revolving door, even though Palante did pitch good in yesterday's ball game versus Cincinnati Reds. Tink Hence, like I said, top prospect in this system, 44 overall, and he's available as well in 98% of fantasy leagues. So this week, a lot of prospects that have opportunities to come up in all starting pitchers, which is obviously one of the hardest positions to find with injuries and just bad 3rd to 5th starters and on a lot of teams in the major league. So that's a few prospects I look to watch, possibly stash for week 9 of the fantasy baseball season.